If President Trump was to call you up today after seeing this and say, hey, Mike, I saw it. I know you. I love you. You're fantastic. You're a great patriot. But I think you ought to sit this one out for the good of the RNC and for good of my candidacy in 2024. What would you say, sir?
Okay, so that's Steve Bannon, and I'm Rick Sanchez. And so Bannon is asking a question of Mike Lindell, the infamous pillow salesman, right? What he's asking him is if he's willing to forego running for the Republican chairmanship of the entire party nationally, right? And I guess he's trying to ask him whether he would do it, even if Trump told him not to do it. So first of all, I guess we have to ask ourselves, why the hell is he even asking him that, right? Is he really even qualified? Has somebody invited him for this position? Or is this something where these two guys talked about it? Let's do a story about me saying I want this. It's kind of weird, the whole conversation, but let's just take it for what it is. Lindell sells pillows for a living, right? And before that, I mean, I just got to let you know he was a crackhead. Yeah, he started doing cocaine. He talks about this. He started doing cocaine at the University of Minnesota. He kept on doing coke. Then he moved on to smoking crack, and he became addicted to it, and he became a crackhead. And listen, the only reason I say that is because just think about all the kids, all the young men and young women, Latinas and Latinos and African Americans who've been sent to jail or had their lives ruined because they had a little marijuana cigarette or half of a marijuana cigarette that was found by some cop in their car. And here's this guy who wants to be the head of the Republican Party, and he's a former crackhead. While I admire his recovery, I just kind of want to put that in perspective sometimes because I don't think we spend enough time thinking about that. So here's Lindell now giving the answer to Bannon about why he would adamantly choose to run for the chairmanship of the RNC, even if Trump told him not to.
I would say, I'm sorry, sir, but my decision's already been made, and I prayed about it, and this is God's will, and this is what I'm doing. And I think I've been straightforward with everyone in this country and the world. When I do my due diligence and when I go all in, I'm all in.
He said a lot of their stuff there. He always does. I mean, he's kind of talks all over the place when he talks, but there's one thing that got my attention. I don't know if it got your attention, but you want to know what got my attention? Here, just cut that part out, guys. Play the part that got my attention. Here it is.
I prayed about it, and this is God's will, and this is what I'm doing. And
God's will. God's will. See, I find that really peculiar, right? Implication, God chose me to be the RNC chair. You know how incredibly pretentious that is? You know how wrong, how vain it is to go around saying God has decided that you're going to be the next anything? I, Rick Sanchez, am going to be the next president of the United States. God told me. I, Rick Sanchez, am going to be the next anchor of NBC Nightly News. God told me. Whatever. I mean, that's kind of crazy talk. I mean, look, I pray. There's nothing wrong with praying. But when you go around announcing that you prayed and God told you that you were going to be something, the next whatever, and it's some vaulted position. By the way, what if 5 other guys come out and say, hey, God told me I was going to be the next head of the RNC? Then what are we supposed to do? Have a debate about why God may be wrong 4 times? I mean, what the hell? Why would you say something like that? In fact, when I heard him say that, I did a little Google search for myself. And here's what I found. Other people who have said this, right? This is a pretty special club. I would say this is almost crazy club. Let's look at this one. This is a headline I grabbed. Man who said God made me do it pleads guilty to murder. So this guy said God told him to go murder, so he decided to murder. Here's another one. Look at this one. Attorney, woman thought God told her to kill her sons. See, this is interesting. Right? Here are people who are saying, God told me to do this. So when you go around telling people that God talked to you and told you that he had chosen you for something, you're really kind of joining a special club, right? A crazy freaking club. Maybe my advice for Mike Lindell in this case is pretty simple. Don't go around telling people God chose you. Don't do that. You know, I believe in God. I don't believe in people who go around telling them that God told them they have to be some vaulted person or position, right? In fact, that's creepy when you do that. And you know what it does? As far as I can tell, just from my own little basic Google search that I did, It puts you in a pretty ungodly company. Puts you in some pretty ungodly company. I'm Rick Sanchez. I do a podcast called The Rick Sanchez Podcast. So glad that you're there. It's a part of Agua Media, and you can find us at aguamedia.com. It's kind of for Latinos, but it's for everybody. By the way, I want to thank TYT and Rebel HQ for having me on. That's what I think. Let me know what you think. Dale.